Welcome to Crunch Time, a program dedicated to helping you survive the crunch times in your life, whether they are caused by accidents, natural disasters, poverty, economic recession, depression, or all-out economic collapse, or whether they are caused by your realization that today's food supply is being contaminated by artificial fertilizers, pesticides, and genetically modified organisms, and over-processing of crops into what can hardly be called food. We want to help you through the crunch times in your future by teaching you what we have learned about organic gardening, food storage, and food preparation. We'll bring you into our kitchen and into our garden and share with you what we have learned, hopefully before your crunch times arrive. Now here is Chef Francois. If no one has read the recipe document that I sent you, pumpkin recipe document.
No, I haven't. No, I'm sorry, I haven't downloaded it yet.
Here.
That's why I was asking your.
Who wants to read it out loud, the first paragraph or so?
Go ahead. I might be at the store.
Susan, can I have my glasses on my purse?
So they can have it on there.
Read it so it'll be heard on the camera.
Do you want this seeds?
Read right from the top of the page.
Oh, okay. All these recipes contain pumpkin.
Loud enough they can catch it on camera.
When the recipe calls for pumpkin, unless otherwise indicated, it will be in the form of cooked or canned mash or puree. This is prepared by cutting the washed pumpkin after removing the seeds and loose inner flesh into chunks about 1 inch cube, boiling them until they are soft and darker in color. Then the chunks are pureed in a food processor or blender. Whether you leave the pumpkin skin on or peel it off is up to you. I prefer to leave it on because it purees just fine, and I like the dark specks in my recipes as well as the nutrients in the skin. If you use cooking sweet pumpkins, the chunks will be denser and darker and harder to puree, but the puree won't be as watery. Carving pumpkins are easier to work with but make watery puree and are not as sweet. I prefer cooking pumpkins, but I use both. If you grow both in your garden, they will cross-pollinate, and your next year's seeds may be a new variety. I never throw away the seeds. Normally I rinse them off and dry them for a while. I have some in a cool, dry basement for planting. Most I cook in an oven 250 degrees to 350 degrees until they start to turn tan. The drier they are, the hotter you can cook them. If they are not dry, you can use 200 to 250 degrees to get them dry, but cooking takes longer. Spraying with cooking oil and sprinkling with salt makes them an excellent snack for food and high in fiber. I will even try to pulverize them in a blender and use them in my recipes as a replacement for some flour or cornmeal. Even the loose flesh connecting the seeds to the shell flesh can be eaten or fed to the livestock or to dogs. Once the puree has been made, I refrigerate it in a Tupperware type container and use it within a week or two. Longer shelf life is obtained by freezing it, but cooking pumpkins will keep nicely in a cool, dry basement as long as they are not bruised, chipped, and not exposed to freezing or rodents. Carving pumpkins will wilt, mash, and mush quicker, but I have used some in December that have even been exposed to frost but hadn't frozen. They were harvested in September. Keeping puree too long, even in the refrigerator, will allow a white mold to grow on the surface. It can be carefully scraped off and discarded, and the remaining puree, even if it smells slightly funky, can still be used in cooking but not in non-cooking recipes. Ways to inhibit molding is to seal the Tupperware when the puree is steaming. Use the smallest container that it will fit to ensure the least exposure to air. Keep it in a cool part of the refrigerator and sprinkle some salt on a surface that is exposed to air. Good tip. I suppose if you are a winemaker, you could use
these, so leave them
the turned puree as stock for your wine. I don't use alcohol and never heard of pumpkin wine, but it sounds like a reasonable use for the otherwise discarded puree.
Yes.
Half a cup of oil, that oil here. Gonna need 2 more.
Oh, 2 more eggs.
All right, I got the cake recipe over here, and I'm trying to do math in my head here, and I hope I'm getting it done right. I'm using, this is all in cups, and I'm using a half a cup as a measuring cup, and instead of 3 of them with the grated stuff, I used 1.5. So, if what I'm really doing is a quarter of that. So I need a quarter of all of these, and I already did a half of that and a half of that, so I'm gonna have to go with a half. So I need about 3/4, I'm only gonna put that much. All right, I didn't bring any vanilla, but we can skip that for sure.
Okay, vanilla, if there's any, I don't know.
The cabinet on the end, on the top there. One, no, the cabinet closest to the clock is where
Cinnamon,
the spices and stuff
I
are.
can put one of these.
Both those sides have spices.
Vanilla? He said he can, he doesn't have any of it, but it's usually a little bottle.
Yeah, I know.
Peanuts I'm
Oh,
gonna
here.
leave out.
It's here,
It's right there.
it's right here. Did you want vanilla?
Yeah, sure. And this thing doesn't call for any milk at all, which makes me suspicious that it's not correct. The only liquid in it is oil and an egg.
Yeah, my pumpkin recipe didn't have any milk in it. That one.
It didn't have any what?
There's no milk
Pumpkin
in it.
cake?
Yeah, no milk in it.
Well, I feel better now.
You let paper up there.
That white paper is a handle, there it is. That's better. But I didn't peel it off, so there it is. So we're supposed to have some, I'm just gonna put a little, there we go. All right,
Here.
take one of those pie plates right here, and just take a dab of oil and rub it around and oil it up. Even though there's oil in this thing, I want a little bit of oil in there to make sure it doesn't stick. And then, here, you can mix that up. I will grate some daikon or rutabaga. I'll do the rutabaga next. And this I will peel.
Now, when you cook the diced rutabaga and onions and the meat, you did it in a skillet?
What's that?
Did you cook it in a skillet?
Yeah.
Yeah,
On the frying pan, yeah.
in the frying pan. Right?
Got a mold.
I had never seen the inside of a rutabaga until Ella had one sitting on the shelf here a few months ago. And I guess she had got it from Larry, had brought it in from something. And I didn't realize how nice they are inside. They
Yeah,
are
they're
very
good.
homogeneous. They do not end up being wooden on the inside like a daikon or a turnip.
Yeah.
will end up-
They're very smooth.
They're
Like-
very homogeneous. If you cut a slice right across there, it's the same all the way through.
Yeah.
And I really like that about rutabaga. When I saw that, I said, I'm gonna grow some rutabaga. And that's when I went and got some seeds and planted some in the garden. Now, like I said before, I usually do not peel my stuff. But because we want to compare the taste of these two different kinds of cake. Hurry up and get that poured so I can use
Oh,
that.
you want me to pour it?
I can use this to catch my stuff.
Well, I've got that oiled up already, that one.
That one's
Well,
oiled?
Give me one that's not oiled up. This isn't oiled.
There it is.
This is, oh, it is. All right,
So where do you want me to put
use
this?
less oil.
Use less oil?
Just enough to be able to,
All right, you want me to pour this in one of these? Then?
yep.
Well, that was
There,
very good.
for the tape.
Oh, was it?
This is homogeneous. It's the same all the way across.
Yeah. we
There's
did-
no core on the inside, it's turning to wood, there's no hollow spot like there is on a daikon. It's the same all the way across, and that's what I love about rutabagas.
We only have in New Zealand Studebakers. I've
Studebakers,
never heard of a rutabaga. I'm being
Baker,
serious.
jeez.
Those are Studebakers, we've heard people in Studebakers.
I said, I'm not.
Studebaker
They have
has
root
4
people.
wheels last I
Oh, is that
knew.
right? No, honestly, I've never
All right.
heard about a rutabaga.
I'll take the bowl now.
You want me to wash it or?
Nope.
What is a rutabaga?
Don't wash it?
What is a rutabaga?
But
All right, what do you want me to do with this?
you could use the red
It's very
spatula
mildly flavored.
to get out the drippings,
Like a carrot?
but you don't have to, because this is.
More like a
pretty well.
turnip.
Like a
Yeah.
Like a sweet
All
turnip.
right,
They're nice flavored. Very nice.
Do you want me to put the oven on?
no,
No. Do you
so I have all
want me?
three of them ready.
All right.
See if you even
We
want some of
first
that
came to
stuff.
America
Yeah, I
All right,
in 1973.
sugar, powder, I mean, the other stuff, open it up. Power.
And with the southern schools and aisles and produce on the side. I was so terrified, I ran outside and jumped in the car. And then all the different, Australia got 2 breakfast foods. Here you had 40. It freaked me out so much, I ran outside. And how I had the same experience. Shit, why don't you do that?
Those Studebakers ears, they have 4 wheels, don't they?
I think
No, the Studebakers.
Ian, did you want to try some
Oil.
of this?
Yeah.
This is, okay. Let's see.
I was just talking to Clara.
How is she doing?
had a procedure in the hospital.
I have cups of oil, and I should have really 3/4, but I'm gonna give it to you.
Okay, this could be for
Same
Ella.
as the other one.
It's,
Here,
what
keep
was
that,
this,
comes
rutabaga?
back on.
Vega,
and onions and luncheon meat. In other words, that.
Where's that red
That's
spatula?
here.
That's second, that's
oh, it's an
second,
onion. It's an onion, right?
that's
Oh,
second,
it's onion.
that's second ingredient.
It's really,
I need my teaspoon.
Oh, I'm
Give
sorry.
me my teaspoon.
Teaspoon, okay.
The one that you had would be
But
best.
if there wasn't onions in here, you see, this is a survival thing because you could, you could
Yes,
buy one of
it's
these for
sorry.
99 cents.
I'll tell you what, when the
But
trouble
just
comes,
need the,
I'm gonna rely on the Ravens.
The ravens, okay, well, okay. That sounds good to me, too.
And I was so happy with Fran the other night, because years ago he told me if I was hiding in his basement, the cop came and asked him, was like there, and he'd say,
I would not lie.
He wouldn't lie. So I said, I'm not coming to your basement. Well, this book goes out.
That's the way to
And
make
then
sure
he
you have
changed his mind last night.
I didn't change my mind.
Yes, you told
I said I will not lie. I didn't tell you what I would say.
Yes, you did. You said.
Last night I told you what I'd say.
Yeah, you'd say, look, it's none of your business.
None of your damn business.
Who's in my basement?
The same thing the fish said.
That's what you take her down about the kind of trouble. But it's,
All right, that spoon was right there the whole time.
I've been stockpiling for 2 years. I've been stockpiling for 2 years.
Still wish I could use that.
you know, one of the recent topics we
Look
got
at
here,
that red
I read it in
rubber spatula.
Hi, Gordy.
I'm not scolding you, every Monday night they're studying the minimum of flour they will ask you.
All right, brown sugar,
Flour,
flour, soda, powder, and salt. Didn't put any salt in it.
And you've got a
Cinnamon, I didn't put in it either.
You want salt or cinnamon?
Nope, I don't want to put cinnamon, but not salt.
It doesn't go beyond,
You want cinnamon?
it goes
Got
beyond.
one here, if I can just get it open.
It falls short.
There you go.
Well, this, Betty Franklin said, in 82, when the time of trouble comes, you should see it coming.
All right, you got all three of those greased up, right?
No, that's you want.
And
need three.
stockpile
You got the third
to,
one.
not only for yourself, but for others, because I'm not saying it's a view,
Now that has to be the bacon.
Yeah, how are you gonna mark these?
Well, that's what I know, that's why I wanted to ask you, what did you want me to, this one was the squash, correct?
See,
Yeah.
God,
How are we gonna do we have a
Position.
marks?
By where you-
Mark a
by where you
lot?
go.
See if the plates are different. This plate's different than that plate. See if that one's different yet.
Now that to me.
No, how can you tell? You really can't tell.
Well, this one and that one you can tell because this has got a pattern on the bottom. Yours are completely flat.
Yeah, but we won't be able to tell what the.
Put that into there.
You
Squeegee
know
it out with the
why?
red thing.
So that's why I said, oh, I can give you the food here.
All right, now, Daikon.
You know what I mean? An ink marker. I wonder where, with an ink
You could
marker,
write on it with this,
All right.
the pen,
an ink marker.
Time out. Hang on.
Okay.
on the bottom and make an impression.
Back up.
Okay.
Put a little dimple in it.
One dimple. It's the
One
first one we
dimple,
did.
Two dimples.
Okay, that's the squash.
2 dimples.
Okay.
This is the second one we did.
Really?
What do you love, you
Okay.
know?
No
And
dimple.
that's the rutabaga.
That's the rutabaga.
This
So
is
put it
the-
in there and get it ready to
Okay,
go.
and then this is the third one.
Is there dimple?
I think that is, that is brilliant, that's brilliant. One for the first one, two for the second.
Give me a pie dish that I can.
You're a wonderful man, I really love
Yes, really.
it. You shouldn't be lying. Be taking, put that on an airplane tonight. You guys said.
Oh, the third one's gonna be daikon, huh?
Yeah, and this one we don't really need to use baking powder because the daikon has a slight acid liquid in it that will activate the baking soda. So we don't really need to put baking powder.
Ian, have you seen those Chinese squash before? The Chinese cucumber?
Remember that bowl yet?
Chinese radish, that's what that daikon is, that huge, they get huge.
Did you say that?
That thing, that thing,
I
you
went
eat
to
them
New
just,
Zealand meeting potato guy.
yeah. I'd never seen it before either, it's just amazing.
I think he said that you can buy them in the stores now.
I looked at, I didn't see them.
Oh, okay.
And I'm ready to hand me these things so I can measure.
Franny probably can do this. I said, Fran,
He
probably
grows
do
them,
this.
yeah.
Yeah, I grew everything
It has a Chinese
except the
neighbor.
flour.
Check Price Chopper, they have a much more
Oh, Price
extensive,
Chopper, okay.
they have a much more extensive produce section, I
Yeah,
think.
because I was surprised, you know.
I find lately Hannaford seems to be limiting itself a little more these days.
Fran, did you know these larrikins are now driving and going around Clifton Park?
The who?
The larrikins, like.
Hey, did I put oil in that last one?
No.
Americans.
I must have, because
Well-
one egg wouldn't have made
It's an
it,
Australian word for
one egg
idiots.
wouldn't have made it
Won't be
mix that well, would it?
This looks
Yeah.
like oil in this one, but that one doesn't
First
look
one I
like
didn't
oil.
put the
Give me that
cap.
red thing. The spatula. But at least once.
He's sending you this food, you know.
The first one I didn't put the
But he's
cap.
very interested in
The
that.
second one I didn't.
I doubt if they have a permit. If anybody else
Okay,
can
now
have a
you can
permit.
turn the
you'd-
oven
you'd
on.
be
We're
going.
gonna be ready here in about,
Because of people complain about the laws, they will make permits about that, but they
Now,
said
how
they're
did
gonna
you
make
bake?
for these people.
oh, I don't know, Ginny, I think.
Yes,
You get baked
yes.
and,
Permits for
Dry spoon?
And
what do you need to
Yeah.
do?
But it's
Any
occupied
dry-
as
what's
to
refill?
meet, to
That is-
occupy.
You imagine, are you in the tea party?
It's on.
There you go.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, somewhat, but not formally, but it's a tea party, people did what they're doing.
Yeah, they'd be kicked out, arrested, dispersed.
So I'm waiting for Fran to start with me.
Baking soda, I am gonna put
Who
baking
decided to
soda,
move
just
it in?
because.
Oh, Fran, on what?
Well, here's anything.
You
I'll
put
follow
less
you.
Actually on survival, but, yeah. We'd also have to, Robin would have to be his bodyguard.
Really? How big
Well,
one?
Robin is the man for security, he could teach it. He takes care of the diplomats that come over from Israel,
Oh, really?
and so does Susan. They work
So you go
security.
down to New York and Washington, D.C.?
Not yet. Just in Albany so far.
Teresa, did you make sure there was nothing in the oven before you turned it on?
No,
The Israeli
There's nothing in there.
Oh my God.
Good.
I am so glad though, but you're right, some people leave things in
Some
there.
people keep stuff in.
Store, some people store stuff.
See how this one is a lot wetter? That's because of the wetness of that daikon.
Special people come
Okay.
and we have to take care of them.
Well,
All right.
it's a shame it's necessary to have to do that.
Pardon?
It's a shame that it's necessary to have to do that.
They, actually, the Jewish folks like it because they say that we do Israeli security, so they like that.
And you know, I'm hoping the Israelis will see, come closer to Christians.
Anybody wanna lick the bowl?
I'll do it.
Because the hardline Jewish people still.
Oh, yeah.
Tough job, Pierre, but somebody's got to, right?
That's right.
Alright, this one's daikon, it's a little wetter
He said the Christians are saying.
because the daikon had a lot of liquid in it compared to the
Make the three
squash and the... Alright, you open the oven.
Okay, and there's Pierre licking the bowl. Jumped right on that job.
I never wait until it's hot.
Oh, you don't?
I never turn it on until I...
Oh, okay.
You know, it's a
Hey, you know what?
Bible.
Yeah,
Romans 9:11 says.
I didn't put my cinnamon in that one.
we need each
Christ
other.
means to- Yeah, but we're meant to make them jealous. You want what we've got. You know?
Well, Sid Roth was calling one new man was the Jewish,
Yeah, well, yeah,
folks
the
with
Jewish
the
and the
Gentiles.
Christians.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Jew and the Gentile.
Well, he's calling these ancient covenant people back.
Pretty good.
And you know, I notice when this trouble breaks out in the world, it's always anti-Semitism that sort of
Oh my
raises
gosh.
ugly head first. You know?
It's coming, it's
Even Middle
really,
Ages.
it's really strong down in New York City. They're very anti-Semitic down there, the demonstrators.
Oh, are they?
We met a young man down, we went down to the city to see, I forget what
This is
ministry it was,
a
I
cake,
think in
right?
ministries.
This is a
And
cake.
we met a young man and a wife there, and the young man was being called by the Lord to regularly witness to Hasidic men. And he would go out and wherever the Lord told him to go, drive here, go there, go to
I
the
should've
park,
left this one
whatever.
back.
Yeah.
And one by one,
Just to see.
he was,
Well,
meeting
you
with
read
them
about
and reaching
taste.
them, yeah.
Praise
Yeah.
God. Well,
Young
that's
guy.
the
But we want them all
call.
the same.
That's
That's
the
sort of
calling,
Rebecca.
yeah.
This is the
Well,
daikon.
15 years ago, I used to travel a lot.
Yeah, it
And
would've
I
tasted
was
good.
To a young Hasidic man with his wife.
Door open. Stuff. The one on the left over there that looks green, that's oatmeal bars. Because we used the
Just,
green,
this is the oatmeal bars.
we used the green puree in that.
There's the green squash.
This is the squash that was shredded off of this squash right here.
That one's a rutabaga.
This one's rutabaga, which is this thing that I've got in the bag right here.
The third one is the daikon.
The daikon, which is,
Oh, wait,
Back in the-
And that one's the oatmeal
and that's
bars.
the oatmeal bar with green puree.
Okay.
And as soon as they're cool enough to not burn us, we're gonna put some frosting on it and taste it.
Okay, sounds good.
Would you guys prefer chocolate or vanilla frosting?
Do you ever use clove,
Put the cinnamon
No,
in
I
there.
don't.
Fran?
I would like
Fran?
it, but
What?
Do you ever use any clove in any of that, like you would a pumpkin?
Oh,
I,
you could.
you know, when somebody says clove, I keep thinking a clove of garlic.
No, oh no.
I know that there are little cloves that they're look
Yeah.
like a little,
Like
one of
ham,
these things, except they're about this big.
put in
Yeah.
ham.
But no, I never have.
You know, cloves have a medicinal use too.
Yeah, they do.
Are you taping?
Yes. If you have a toothache and you put a clove in it,
Yeah?
it won't hurt for
I
a
had
while.
to do that when I had my wisdom teeth. The doctor kept giving me treatments with cold.
When I was in college doing fish, we were looking for ways to ship them where they were calm. So, because when they're calm, they don't give off as much ammonia, and it's less stressful of a trip for them. And we used oil of clove in the water, and it put them to sleep.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. So are you saying if we can't sleep some night, you could?
I guess you could try a little oil of clove in something.
Just chew on one.
Chew on one, that's true, yes.
Yeah, they're probably a little hot to be doing this, but
Yeah.
since it's getting late and we gotta get home.
Oh, you mean I thought you meant the clove is kind of.
No,
to chew on.
the cakes are,
Yeah.
you know.
I've never buttered with one of these before in my life.
Well, you're doing a good job,
No,
Fran.
It's working fine.
They can get you
I just gotta go slow enough not to tear it, that's all.
I finally broke down and bought one of those big white knives that you frost with.
Yeah, it looks like one almost, except they're round, thin and round.
I saw someone using it on a cooking show and I thought, good tool.
Yeah, it's a tool. Yeah. I don't cook that much, so need one.
Robin likes to make box cakes, like a double layer
Oh, does
for
he?
parties.
Yeah.
And it's his little thing. That's all he cooks. That and waffles he likes.
I think this is a daikon. I think it's absolutely fabulous.
It's the moistest one.
The daikon's the first one that I actually made.
But you can taste
That
the
rutabaga.
daikon in it.
This was daikon over here.
No, you
Yeah,
made it.
that's daikon.
Yeah, oh, that's so good.
No,
No.
the first one he's ever made.
First one I ever made.
Oh,
Actually,
But you can-
not tonight.
right, right.
But you can taste that it's daikon. It's not like you didn't overpower with cinnamon or anything. So you can actually taste
The
it.
texture is much smoother because it's a smoother. Oh, no,
It
that's
had
for the
more,
bacon.
it had more
This
liquid.
dark one,
Lick it, lick it, lick it.
tastes more like
It had more
vegetable.
liquid in it.
I actually like them all though, I'll be
I
honest
like
with
that one the best.
This one here, which is the
Squash?
squash.
This one is really good.
That's really good.
And the very dark one.
This one's not bad. I mean, there's none.
you. They're all good, they're all good.
What is that again?
Squash,
Squash?
squish.
It's not as good as the daikon.
Because then everybody has different tastes too. I mean, that's the other thing.
Yeah, I got my own taste buds there.
Center of that rutabaga one
Mm.
is a section that may not have been cooked as much. And I really
What
like it.
was that one?
Daikon.
And this
That
one
one's
is
thick.
rutabaga right here.
This is rutabaga.
This one really firmed up, solid.
Mm.
I don't know if it's, maybe I'm eating the rutabaga.
I like the squash. I mean, I like them all.
Can you tell what this is?
Not that one.
Okay, the rutabaga or the first one?
I haven't tried that one yet.
That was this one.
Can't tell.
No.
Can you tell the difference in taste?
I can. The squash
Not as good as.
and the daikon have distinctive tastes. Like I can taste the squash and I can taste the daikon in it.
You couldn't taste that one?
That one tastes a little more like a,
That almost tastes like carrot cake. though.
it does, it has less, it doesn't have as squashy of a taste, if that means anything. And the oatmeal bars I really like.
As you can see from the last few weeks, survival food can taste very, very well. And there's no reason for us to sacrifice our enjoyment of food in survival mode if we are prepared ahead of time. Well, here's my home garden on the 18th of November. This was all frosted up, really heavy frost on the inside of the glass this morning. Kale and spinach in the background are doing really good. The rutabagas and daikon inside the glass in the front are doing good. Here it is at just a few minutes before noon on November 18th. See how we get very little sun here because this tree is blocking some of it, and already the house is blocking this section right here. In the last minute of our show, I'd like to tell you about the real reason for this show. Jesus Christ, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Without Jesus as my Savior, I would not be confident entering into these trying times that lay ahead. If Jesus is not your Lord and Savior, I suggest you send me an email at crunchtime@roadrunner.com and ask me how you can join the God who loves you, His Son Jesus Christ, and His disciples in everlasting life. For now, I say to you, God bless and keep you and yours. I'll see you next week on Crunch Time with Chef Francois.